Hi everyone, happy Victory in Europe Day and welcome to your bank holiday weekend, assuming that the passing of days hasn't become entirely arbitrary by now. Second round of questions, we've got a good one to start. Unlimited budget, what car, what series and what track, and what are you drinking at the after party? Now, great fun to be had with this one. I could spend hours going through all sorts of different things, but the first things that come to mind are I really idolise Group C, the headcase Le Mans prototypes of the 80s and early 90s. Fabulous cars. And likewise, Formula One in the 70s and 80s, but while the cars are still around and can still be raced, I feel like I couldn't get the best out of them. I feel like I'd be scared of them all the time. A brilliant experience, but probably not racing, probably just clinging on. No, I think what I'd like to do is the Spa 6-hour race, which for those who don't know it is an endurance race for historic cars, for 60s racing cars mostly. Held at a truly beautiful circuit, which I've never been to but has a reputation as one of the best in the world. And that I'd like to do in a Ford GT or a Jaguar E-Type lightweight or something like that. I just think it'd be fantastic. I'd spend the whole time going up the straights listening to the thing and thinking, God, I can't believe I'm getting to do this. And as we're in Belgium, I suppose the after party would have to be delirium, although I hope there'd be some well-aerated Moe on the podium after taking the checker flag first. Would you rather give up sex or racing? I've been asked this before. It's actually easier than people think, because when we start out in racing, all of us accept that we're going to have to go 6 months of every year through the winter not being able to do it at all, and we seem to survive that okay. So, pit stop timing in an endurance race. Now, a strategy question from someone who's looking to start racing themselves. If you share the drive and therefore the costs, do you aim for half the race each? If you, the freedom, would you pit earlier or later for better strategy? Really valid question, something you've got to talk about with your co-driver before you go out, because trying to make that kind of decision in the heat of the moment is tricky. What I've always found is that yes, we do aim for the middle of the race, because that's the fair and proper thing to do, but if there's a big tactical advantage in doing something different, then we will. Because in reality, while it's nice to keep things as fair as possible, I think everyone I've shared a car with would rather drive for 50 minutes instead of 70 and go away with a trophy, rather than get exactly that 1 hour to get their money's worth, jump right down to the precise second and go home empty-handed. That's not necessarily what we're there for. Earlier or later, really depends what's happening on the circuit. You might find that fuel restricts you, that there's only a certain amount of distance you can go before you need fuel. But the main thing is the safety car. So in club racing, if there is a pit stop, normally the car has to be stationary for a mandatory minimum time, 60 seconds in road sports, for example. And there, if the safety car's out because of an incident and all the field are circulating at reduced pace, if you can be stationary during that time, you're losing a lot less track time versus everyone else. So that helps a lot, and there is always a flurry of activity if the safety car comes out. A follow-up question from that, what about pit crew? Can they just be a bunch of drunk friends who like cars? Fundamentally, yes. You don't tend to end up doing running repairs during a club level race. So actually what your crew are there for most of all, maybe to give you a bit of information during the race, holding out a board with numbers on to tell you where you are in the race, who's ahead and who's behind, how close they are. But yeah, usually their actual actions in the pit stop are quite limited unless it's refueling. What they're really there for is to buoy you along, to cover off little tasks that you haven't got time to do, to make sure the car's clean and ready and all of that, to make sure you're in the right place at the right time, to feed you because you will definitely forget to eat during trying to run a race meeting on your own. All of that stuff really. So yes, absolutely, a bunch of mates who like cars is the perfect crew. Next, what's your favourite car you've ever driven? I'm just going to restrict myself to ones on the circuit because there are too many otherwise. I think as a road car, probably Aston Martin's Rapide AMR, because it's just a fabulously complete thing. But for circuits, I'll probably think of something else as soon as I sign off, but I'm going to go with the Ariel Atom. For those who don't know it, it's a very tiny car, kit car-esque, made out of a steel exoskeleton space frame with a Honda 4-cylinder Type R engine behind you. And the idea of it is to be as light and as visceral as possible. And the result's astounding. When you get the thing out on a circuit and start driving it quickly, the way it feels and the way it responds to everything you do is just fabulous. There's no latency in anything. It just acts as soon as you've thought something. There's this brilliant thing that gets written in motoring journalism about the car feeling like an extension of your body, and that everyone mythologises around that, and you read it and think, come on, really, what's that actually like? the Atom does that. It's wonderful. You kind of forget that you're actuating controls, and it just feels like the car is responding as soon as you do anything. And of course, being very lightweight and being quite powerful, there's this immediacy to everything it does. As soon as your foot stretches, you get this kick in the back, and it just feels like you're almost not in the thing at all. You're just being propelled, and it's just wonderful. And the way it handles is great as well, and it really rewards being slid around, and that's a major factor for me in choosing a car. Wonderful thing. I'll put a picture on to show what it's like, or maybe some footage. I've got a bit of footage. I first drove one in 2007, I think it was, and it was on one of those driving experience days. I'd driven a Ferrari 360, I'd driven a Lamborghini Murcielago, which is also a wonderful car, and then I drove this Atom, my supercharged version, and it just blew me away. The performance and the viscera of the thing was stunning, and I got straight out of it and went into the office and bought more laps in it, and just kept doing more laps until eventually I spun it and thought, okay, right, fine, we've reached the ceiling of my performance for that day. Just a brilliant thing. I've got more written down here, but I'm going to have to save them for tomorrow because I've been told to keep it to 5 minutes, and as we're at 6 and a bit now, we'll probably call it there. Thank you so much for the questions. Keep them coming. I'm going to get to them all, even if it takes me the rest of the week, no problem. If you think of more, do ask. And yeah, thank you. Have a good day.